Stephen Mangan. Welcome to the top of the tower, Stephen. What a pleasure to see you.
Thanks, Ryan. Nice to be here.
And thanks for being here. Congratulations on the book, The Day I Fell Down the Toilet.
Say it's a children's novel and not an autobiography.
Yeah. I was going to say we have to clarify that. No plumbers were harmed in the making of this book, but no, well done. I mean, not your first rodeo in this regard. And what I think is should be mentioned to the people who haven't read it today is that you are the keeper of the flame of the bad dad joke. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, it's important to keep that flame alive.
Yeah.
Yes, the story about the land where jokes are written.
Yes.
And the queen of the land of Dunny has decided she's got no sense of humour anymore. She doesn't find jokes funny. So unless someone can make her laugh, that's it. She's shutting down the operation. So our hero has to go around and find the funniest joke in the land. So I used to love as a kid reading joke books. I mean, I'd love reading novels that were funny and adventure stories, but I also love just flicking through joke books. So this book is a bit of both. It's an adventure story with as many jokes as I can pack in to one book, including a whole chapter on dad jokes.
And that's the key chapter for people like me who think that we're mildly amusing, but actually your arch critics, namely your children and mine, will tell you really, with the raise of an eyebrow, not even a comment out of the mouth, they'll go, you are pathetic.
Yeah, and that to me is funnier than the joke. And I do a lot of that in the book because the dad in the book thinks he is hilarious and he keeps coming up. I met the man who invented the windowsill. He's a ledge. These sort of jokes. But it's the children just not having it and looking at him as if he's the saddest thing that they've ever seen in their life. That to me is as funny as any of the jokes.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Like, why do we do it, Stephen? Why do we do it to our children? Why do we do it to society where we crack that awful pun?
You can't help yourself.
You can't. But we punch the air as if we just scored a goal.
It's just in you. It just has to be done. And I don't know, because we all had dads who did it and we all rolled our eyes at them, but then when you become the thing you fear, eventually you are that person. But so there's a whole thing on dad jokes as puns. He goes to the limerick place where limericks are invented, surreal jokes, shaggy dog stories. So I love jokes, and also there's these trolls in the book who are trying different forms of comedic performance to make the Queen laugh. So they do some slapstick, they do some stand-up comedy, and they're terrible at all of them. Again, I find it funny when the joke doesn't work. To me, that's hilarious.
And that's it. That's the face palm moment, really, isn't it? I mean, because when you were, I want to get into your own story a little bit, because when you were little, it was all Irish Catholic and stuff that. And you've said in the past, and it's so true, the Catholic church, mass, communion, baptism, the most performative costume dramas since Downton Abbey. Even if the Pope's funeral, it's pure theatre, isn't it?
It's pure theatre, and we had to go, like, Irish parents. You had to go to mass every Sunday, and I very quickly twigged on that if I'm going to have to go, I might as well be up on stage. So I became an altar boy.
That was your first.
I literally thought, if I'm going to have to be here for an hour and a half every Sunday, I might as well be up there with everyone looking at me rather than sitting there bored in the audience. So, and I quickly got the guy. I had the incense, which was, to me, the leading part, because that stuff's great. And ringing the bell at certain moments and helping with the bringing stuff out. It just kept busy.
Yes,
and then it wasn't as boring.
No, I appreciate that, and you had something to do, and it helped you to not sitting there.
Pass the time.
Up and down. And where are your folks from?
Mayo, County Mayo, West Coast, both from villages a couple of miles apart, actually. But they went to separate schools, so they were aware of each other growing up, but they weren't really close. But when they came over to England, as so many do and did, aged 15, 16, dad to work on building sites, mum was a barmaid, and what happens is you go to the bar that's run by someone from your area.
Absolutely.
Because you know that you'll be seeing familiar faces.
Yes.
So mum worked in a bar in Camden.
Oh, I mean, you're ticking every Irish emigrant story there.
They lived in Willesden and Kilburn, and they went to, I mean, it's a well-trodden route, and that's where they got together, and got married young and had me. Mum was only 21 or 22 when she had me.
And again, a classic thing to do, the Irish Catholic family, and you get married young and you have the kids.
Well, if you're going to have 12 children, you need to get going quite early. But they had 3. They were a disappointment.
But that's quite a leap then, because you went to Cambridge, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I suddenly decided at 13 I wanted to go to boarding school, and I got a scholarship. I was lucky to get a scholarship, which meant we could afford it. My sisters went to the local state school. I ended up going, and so I ended up on this path. Yeah, I went to Cambridge to do law.
Yeah.
Partly because I think, having the parents both very bright, but didn't have a good education.
Yes.
And they were very unfulfilled in that area. And I think going to university and studying something like philosophy was seen, why would you do that? Do something practical.
Yeah.
Do something useful. So I ended up studying law, even though I never really wanted to be a lawyer.
That's intriguing. So your family, they had to, because of circumstances and economics, like so many other families around the world, not just Ireland.
Yeah.
And they come over and they see you're the princeling. Obviously, the girls can go to the local school. You see where this is going? Yes, you're not. And off you go to this esteemed college, but not to do arts and do the fun stuff, but to do something practical.
No, I mean, the idea of going to drama school would be like, what?
You see what
you're going to waste all that education?
You ended up in drama school.
Well, I did, because Mum died shortly after I finished my law degree, and I suddenly thought, she was 45, her mum was 47. I suddenly thought, I might have 20 years. It's really, realistically looking, that's my family history, is people dying in their 40s.
And you are now?
I'm now 21, and I thought, well, I want to be an actor, so I went to RADA, and that was it. Changed the course of my life.
What was your mum's name?
Mary.
Well, again, here we are.
Mary Donoghue.
Mary Donoghue, who married your father being
James Mangan.
Good Lord. And she was 45.
Yeah, she was 45.
And can I ask you what she died of?
She died of cancer, colon cancer.
And her mother?
Her mother had a cancer as well. It wasn't colon cancer. No.
But she was only 40.
She was 47.
And that gave you pause for thought then when you qualified from Cambridge?
Because suddenly you're leaving. You're trying to imagine what to do with the rest of your life. And when you look at that family history and your mum and your grandmother dying at 40 in their mid-40s, you think that might be me, and it really does it does stop you in your tracks. It did anyway with me.
Yes, and
it gave me that courage, because I think there is I was incredibly fortunate to have the education I had, but with that comes, you feel you ought to use it in some way, and that not becoming a lawyer is betraying all that work that you've done and that privilege you've had. Whereas, you can use that education in other ways. In fact, most of the people who, I don't know, I think your education is broad, and I think the more you narrow down very early, it can be restrictive on a life. And I didn't want to wake up in my 40s and go, I took a wrong path.
Did you make the right decision?
I think I did.
I think you did too.
I'm very happy in what I do.
Yeah.
I also felt law is about removing the emotion from a situation.
Yeah.
So you're trying to strip away the human feeling and get to the sort of logical, cold facts of something, whereas in fact the emotion was the interesting bit. Yeah. Yeah. That's to me was what's fascinating.
So your inner altar boy was bursting to get out of the restrictions of the legal expectations.
Yeah, it was too dry for me, that subject.
Tell me about your kids. Do you want to name checks and ages?
Yeah, Harry, Frank and Jack, who are 16, 13 and 8.
Yes.
Harry's doing his GCSEs this spring, so
good luck.
I know, good luck to all of us.
Yeah,
it's a tense house.
The student isn't the only person sitting those exams.
Well, this is
you were all emotionally as a household sitting those exams.
I feel for him though. It's
it's a tough old system.
God, I wouldn't go back to that for anybody.
And the other two boys?
Frank's doing well. He's a drummer and he's very creative. And Jack has suddenly sprung into these. He's learning the saxophone, the guitar, and the piano.
Wow, Quiet House, yes.
At aged 8.
Wow, that's exciting.
So we've got a drummer and a saxophonist. Please, I need some earplugs.
And a student, and really good.
Someone trying to revise in the middle of all that.
So where do they come from? The Day I Fell Down the Toilet, of course, which you've illustrated beautifully by your sister, and congratulations to her.
Yeah, she's fab.
I'm familiar with you both side by side on the couch at Celebrity Gogglebox.
We did it.
Do you enjoy doing that?
We did it. It's great fun, and it was fun to. Because when you're growing up, you sit next to your sister on the sofa watching TV.
Doing exactly that.
Yeah, and then, of course, you grow up and get families of your own, and you don't do that anymore. So it was a joy to do that.
And when you're writing the kids' books in between all your TV and acting projects, do you road test the gags on the boys, or are they because the 15, 16-year-old, it could be in the stage?
Yeah, he's out of the range. These books are for sort of 8 to 12-year-olds. Frank is my plot man. I go to him for plots advice. I discuss with him what the story's going to be, but Jack is the gags. I road test the gags, and as I said earlier, sometimes if he rolls his eyes and says, "Dad, nobody will laugh at that," that makes me want to put it in even more. But so this it's a mixture of jokes that make your eyes roll, but also I have to say there are some funny jokes in there too.
No, of course, and congratulations on it. And how well do you work with Anita? Obviously very well, but how do you?
Well, I can't draw, so I write it and then hand it over.
Is that how it works? You write
I write the entire thing, trying in my mind to make her laugh. And, you know, growing up together, our sense of humour is very similar.
Yeah.
So I try and make myself laugh, make her laugh, and then she sends back the drawings which just enhance it because, you know, she thinks visually. I don't think like that. I think with words. Yes. So this is a good combination.
A quick question from Justine, who said, did Green Wing change your life? I asked because my friends and I are around 50. We've been in love with you, obviously, with Stephen, since that programme. And surely we can't be the only ones. Was it a game changer?
It was a game changer. It was, you know, those who discovered it, I think, really found a lot of affection for it, and I now can't go into a hospital or see a doctor without it being mentioned, and them telling me how scarily accurate it is about hospitals, which is worrying for everybody.
They got it right. Stephen, I've enjoyed your company, no end, I have to say. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, and congratulations on your new book, The Day I Fell Down the Toilet, from Stephen Mangan. It's a must for the bookshelf of the, as you say, 8 to 12, or indeed the 8 to 12-year-old adults among us.
Well, this is it. You know, you read with your kids. There's a lot of stuff for the adults in there.
That's for sure. Great to see you, Stephen. Thanks for coming in.